Howdy folks, it's Meandering Mike in the Man Cave of Madness. It's the middle of the afternoon and we are doing a special unboxing today of various Wizard King items. Now, we had earlier done an unboxing of this and a how to play playthrough. This was a review copy received from the publisher, Columbia Games, and I'm giving it away on my channel. This is Friday. Sunday is the deadline for signing up for that giveaway. We're also giving away a copy of this that's no longer available from Columbia Games, but this was a special folio version of one scenario with 2 armies worth of blocks. We're giving that away. So what else do we have that's new today? Well, this is a copy of Heroes and Treasures. This was not received from the publisher. This was gifted by a subscriber. Thank you. You know who you are. So we'll be unboxing this today to look at what kind of things you get in a Heroes and Treasures expansion pack. And this, and this, and there's actually 5 of them. The publisher very generously sent 5 copies of the Wizard King's Ancient Kings expansion. This is the historical armies, Persians and Romans and Huns, etc. There's a bunch of those. So we'll be able to take a look at that in depth, looking at the variety of kind of units that we can get out of multiple expansions. It's very gracious of them for that. I was expecting like maybe get, one. Also, we got from the publisher the 3 map expansion packs. Now, I had mentioned before on some of my videos that the original first edition Wizard King had the first 4 maps in it, maps 1 through 4. And then they started coming out with expansion maps 2 at a time. So they came out with like 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, and 11 and 12. So they came out with 2 at a time, 4 different expansions. Then when they issued second edition of Wizard Kings, which is this box here, they created 4 new maps, and this has maps 13 through 16. And then they repackaged the original 4, these 8, so that there's 4, 4, 4. So 1 through 4, 5 through 8. And you can get these on their website right now. Each one of these different map packs is available for you to get expansions. So these are review copies. I will show you those. So what we're going to start with first is these maps. Then we'll show you the Heroes and Treasures, and then all those Ancient Kings stuff. So that way, since there's a bunch of these, if you don't want to watch through me looking at all the different stuff of those, just want to see a sampling, then you can stop early on that. So try my best to be considerate of your time, because yes, I do tend to meander. So I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to open these up. Okay, so looking at maps 1 through 4, here's map number 1. They are single-sided. And remember, these are all their geomorphic ones so that they connect. There's usually land on every side with some water. And so you can connect them up as you like. And, if you actually have multiple sets of these, you can create quite large maps if you wanted to, repeating some of those. But the fact that there are 16 total different maps is probably quite sufficient. But if you wanted to, you could double up on some of these packs. So What we're going to look for here, is there anything special on each map? Now I'm looking here for like those stone hedges or wizard hinges. Those are special in that wizards get to get free step rebuilds that they can so they can sit there and cast spells from there and keep regaining theirs, or have gone into battle and then run back there to get back their step and run into battle again. So this does have some marsh, and here is a falls. So the units cannot go upstream of that. The units that can the aquatic dudes, they may not pass up past the falls. Okay, so that looks, no desert, marsh, a lot of forest in the middle, and some mountain ranges, no mountain hexes, right? So mountain troops would be able to easily pass over these, but there's no spot where they'd be sitting in mountain terrain to get their bonus strength. Okay, so that's map number 1. Map number 2. Wow, this has the Great Marsh, a shoal, which I believe you cannot cross this with the aquatic units. So they can sail here, but they can't land on this coast or cross like that. This big city here down on this peninsula. That'll be tough to attack along this choke point. You have to either go up with flyers or come in with aquatic units or amphibious units, because the amphibious units can come along the coast. You can have guys go along land and amphibious along the coast to potentially, but remember, amphibious cannot cross the all-seed hex. So amphibious couldn't come in this way. Aquatics could, but amphibians could come on each side, and that there, plus flyers. So that's pretty interesting. Anything else? Again, this is one with no mountain hexes, but it has mountain hex sides. There is Greyhenge. So this is what we're talking about, the special spell spot worthy of fighting over. You have control of that. You're gonna excel in the magic department over the enemy. All right. So now, map number 3, we change gears and we have a lot of desert. We still have a little bit of marsh down here, which is kind of odd to have a marsh that near to the desert, but there are salt marshes. They just call it salty bog. So, oh, here's another one. Ring of Stones, it's called. Ring of Stones. All right. So this is one with no 3-point city. There's 3 2-point cities and 4 1-point cities. So the wealth is a little more spread out. Little bits of forest. There's only 2. Well, let's see. This is a tough call, what to call it, because normally you say the very center of the hex is supposed to be the type. So this is obviously forest, just like these are desert, whereas this one's clear. This oasis, it's called, is the tip of the river, and there's some forest here, but the very center really is the clear. So this forest here is just like decorative, or one could say, well, no, but it's not in the center. It's not in the center. But this one here, you got this road. It's on the coast. The coast is really going right through the center. There's a lot of forest, but I would declare that's clear. A clear coastal hex. Now, so it looks like, and remember, these first 4 maps were in the first edition. It looks like they had no mountain hexes, okay? So in the original version of the game, there were no mountain hexes. Very interesting. All these were mountain hexsides. I wonder. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna think that maps 5 and 6. Those probably introduced mountain hexes, and they probably introduced the dwarves or something with mountain folk, where you actually want to be. Someone could actually be in the mountains. But we'll have to see. This is just me guess. But yes, absolutely no mountain hexes in the first 4 maps. Interesting shoals here. There's a lake. Now, interestingly, a lake is in the center. But it's up a stream of a thing. So aquatic guys could not pass up here. So this is really should be like a clear, and that's coastal. It's clear coastal in a sense that that's all coast to the lake in the middle. This is very odd. So there was really not much reason to go here unless in part of a scenario. You create a scenario or something where you make this the focal point somehow. Maybe there's some treasure there or something. There's some reason to go there and fight over that. Because it's all mountains. You'd have to fly over, cross with your mountain troops, or come around here. And then here's another one with the river source, but it's all forest. The Dismal Fen. All right, so interesting things. All right, so let's move on from there. So that's the first 4 guys. Let me open up the next pack. We're looking at maps 5 through 8. So these would have been the very first expansion maps they would have done after the first edition. So indeed, we do have some mountain hexes. So now what's really interesting here, okay, this is a mountain hex, but there's this pass with a road, so you can enter it not being a mountain person along the road, but it's actually desert here, but technically it's a mountain hex. So this is one of those things that probably needs rulings. That the game is famous for people having to house. Now, I would say if you entered this along the road because you're not a mountain folk and you stop here, you would be considered to be in the desert terrain. If you were a mountain folk, you would enter and be in the mountains and have your benefit, but everyone else would be in the desert. This one's unequivocal. That's easy. So surrounded by mountain hexsides, it is a mountain hex. Period. End of sentence. Easy peasy. Now there's another henge. All right. Interesting here. There's this inland sea here with a swamp. Of course, like, where is this water coming from? It's like, should this not be all the way up here to the mountains? Geography, folks. Geography. Yes. Physical geography is important to know when you are designing maps. I've seen too many that, like, this does not make sense. But, hey, it's a game, so, whatever. All right, let's look at the next in this series. Number 6. Ooh, lots of shoal here. A little bit of shoal there. No full mountains on this one. There's one swamp. It is kind of weird how it just sort of seems that semi-random. Like, this name here is upside down, right? And I guess sometimes they orient some names along the direction of the thing. But why is this one swamp upside down? I don't know. That just seems weird to me. Yeah. All right, I don't see any henges, but yes, lots of shoal. All right, so 5 and 6, that would have been the first map expansion in the first edition. What's coming next would have been the second one, and then they're now packaged together, 5, 6, 7, 8. Dragonia, all right. Oxmoor. Oxmoor the region and Oxmoor the moor. Hog Swallow. Now, so interesting. There's a volcano there, Peak of Tears. Can you see that? Do I zoom in? And Peak of Tears. Peekaboo. So again, that would be something you could make as a point of interest. Ravenstones, more good old henges. So for a scenario, all sorts of stuff here to build some scenarios around. Okay, only one forest hex. No, 2. This is all forest hex. And this one here, 3. And this one here, 4. So never mind. Lots of forest hexes. But 1 mountain hex, the Gray Peaks. Remember, this is just hex sides. So that peak is drawn in this hex, but it's really a feature of the hex side, this being a mountain hex. So you'd have to decide if you're using that as a point of interest in a scenario. Do you say, well, it's really controlling this hex or something, or maybe you need to control both hexes to control access to the Peak of Tears, and then you maybe do something, I don't know. Take a certain kind of unit there to make a sacrifice, or use your magic user to cast a special spell that's only available for this scenario, or something like that. All right, number 8. Oh, this one's a little warped. Look at this. Interesting. Huh. Was in there normally, but it just was warped stock. Should be relatively easy to flatten. The Livan Sea. So here's another one of these 3-point things at the end of this bridge. It's actually bridged that, big rivers, but that's like coastal to this island. So yeah, with this, all that is aquatics that could come in, or flyers, but there's no, so only this size, because you can't amphibious guys from here. You can, yeah, well, since this is a bridge, technically this little thing here is the equivalent of like a bridged river, I would say. So you could have your guy come across the bridge and an amphibian right here. Otherwise, you got to go in with aquatics and flyers, that very limited amount here. So bam, a big castle there. That'd be pretty nice to defend. So that could be a scenario, focusing on that. How do you crack that nut? Tough nut to crack. All right. There is a mountain hex. Forest hexes. No marsh on this one. There's one little bit of reef there. A little bit of weef. Got no gweef, but I got a little bit of weef. All right. So that's this one. Let's get into the last set. And we have maps 9 through 12. All right, what do we got here? The Harshlands Desert, with a cape way at the end of that desert there. So either you're going to have to drudge yourself through the through the harsh deserts, or come by sea. Wait, whoa. This is underpointed for cities. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Isn't there normally 10 points per thing? let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, normally there's 10 points. Maybe when there's a hinge, there's not always a full 10. I didn't double check that. 2, 3. Oh. Here's 2. Whoa. Neptunus submerged. So you're going to need like aquatic only dudes. I'm assuming there wasn't anything here to tell us that. So I don't know if somewhere in rules somewhere they talk about submerged things somewhere. Maybe that's buried in the first edition rules. I don't remember seeing it in the second edition rules. But there you go. There's 2 points of Neptunus. All right. That's obviously something for some scenario building. Okay, here's another case of an isolated thing, but it's only a 1-pointer. So you might not want to fight over that one as much. The 2-pointer here, but the 2-pointer there. So interesting, these right here, the 2-pointer, the 2-pointer, this. So maybe some big old naval battles in this one going on. Because there's no connection across any land. This is, you must cross big time water. Interesting. Yes, this could be a interesting scenario. Build no mountain hexes. So there's some forest, and there's these 3 desert, no marsh, no shoals or reefs, but we do have the submerged dude. So very interesting. All right, so that's number 9. Number 10. Oh, more interesting thing. Right in the center, Naya. They've got names in the Pine Bridge, the Spruce Bridge, the Alder Bridge. Now, wait a minute. Does that say Lonor misspelled? L-O, yeah, it's like Lonor Wall. Do they mean loner? Lonor? I don't know. L-O-N-O-R. That's not how you spell loner. But I guess it's just a name. Bermick Wall. But the Winter Wall. Okay, see, I saw that first. And thinking it's just a weird name. So walls. I think, was there a wall in the, I think there's a wall. Yeah, I think there's a wall in the 13 through 16 set, because there's that Barbarians versus Amazons. So I wonder how that's going to affect, because obviously coming in here with flyers, something, but can you actually come in here with aquatics? I do not know technically, because, well, again, there's no rules with this per se, so might have to hunt and find to see the ruling on, well, how does this thing work? Does it really work like a normal coast? How does the wall work at sea? Does this act like a normal port for sea transport out or in, if you control it? Technically, the way they have that, normally the cities are right on the coastline, right? When they're ports. But this is in the very center. They're getting a mountain with the lake in it. But this one you can actually get up into. So your amphibious dudes can come up. Some reef. This would be, I would consider this mountain. But again, it's like right at the center here. It's almost the clear. And that notion that if you're crossing along using the road and you stop, wouldn't you be in the clear, but some other guy could be in the mountain? So again, how do you guys, if you're a player of Wizard Kings and you've dealt with these issues before, do you say that's a mountain? Do you say that's a clear because of the pass? If you entered along the road, are you in the clear if you end there? But if you're mountain folk, you should certainly be able to be in the mountain. All right. The next one, number 11. Oh, here we go. Another henge out on an island. Fight for it, fight for it. Oh. Underground city. So this is interesting. There's this mountains, but the center of the hex really looks like it's clear, but they've got this very extended river here, little jiggy-jaggy thing. And normally the way they have the source, there's a falls here. So your amphibious dude can only go up that far, but you can come in this way, or you could cross this way. So your amphibious guy can get in here, right? It's like, get into this hex, and then you could just cross here. You'd have to, amphibiously, I wouldn't let them go through crossing this and saying, I know you're stopping in the forest or you're continuing up to there, but you can't go there. If you're a forest guy, you could come, along this way in. For amphibious, you'd have to stop here, and then you could come this way, even though you couldn't go that way. But it says underground. So there's a special to attack it. Does that mean you have to have mountain folk to get into it because it's underground, or what? Even though the hex doesn't appear to be mountain. It's another thing. How is that interpreted? Okay, so this is obviously a mountain. That's mountain hex. This is one of those things. This is what I would definitely call this one clear. That's a mountain hex side. That is. But this very center of this is the clear. All right, the last of the maps I'm going to be opening now. There's, of course, maps 13 through 16. I'm not going to look at those today because we looked at those in our original unboxing of Wizard Kings 2nd edition, Elwood. Joliet Jake and Elwood Blues. We're on a mission. You guys all know what that is, right? Blues Brothers. Okay, some big old bog. Some more marsh here. A mud island. It's just a marshy island. Which is problematic to me because technically these are all full sea hex sides, which amphibious guys cannot cross. Amphibious guys love the marsh, but they technically can't get here. Only an aquatic can cross this. Yeah. Me no like that. All right. 3, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 5. Yeah, so 10 points. All right. So that was the maps. Okay, let me set those aside. All right, so those were the 3 map expansions currently available from Columbia Games for the Wizard Kings game. Now those were all review copies from the publisher. So this is the Heroes and Treasures expansion units for the 2nd edition Heroes Quest Wizard Kings game. And this was, again, I mentioned, given to me by a subscriber. Thank you. So let's get the shrink off on this. And the shrink is off. Let's take a look at the back of the box. All right. So Chris Moeller, we had mentioned him. He's dude responsible for the new Burning Banners game from Compass Games. Okay, what it says here, let me zoom in a little better. Expand your Wizard King's armies with heroes, thugs, werebeasts, treasures, and enchanted artifacts. Contains 21 random blocks, 3 for each of the 7 armies. Okay, now I believe I understand that they include that number of blocks, 3 for each of the 7 armies. However, so within this, there's like 14 of the stickers are designed to be 2 armies for each, two units for each of the 7 armies. And then the third set of 7 is the random across different types. So like treasures, getting chaos creatures, werebeasts, which can be assigned to any of the army colors. So you're going to have some options. So let's take a look at that. Let's get inside here. So this is one of these, slide off the sleeve, get your little pizza box on the inside here. Not super fancy, but that helps them keep costs down. All right. So there we go. A big, kind of puffy, got puffy air in it. I'm just gonna let that out now. But yes, there should be 3 of each color. That looks about right. 3 green, 3 brown, 3 black, gray, etc. So we've got 3 of each color, but in terms of all right. Please tell me that the stickers are underneath here. There they are. Catalog. Many catalogs. All right, not gonna look at that. All right, here they are. All right, having difficulty with my fingers getting these. All right, I'm gonna move this out of the way. All right, so this is what we get. So here's what I was talking about. We got 2 strips, 7 per strip, 1 of each of the colors. So what did we get? We got for the reddish, slightly burgundy color, these are Amazons. Oh, a chariot, good. So like there's a spell for the Amazons where they can summon a chariot, where they bring the chariot. Now, do they bring the chariot or they make it shoot at A speed? I think that's what it is. But you don't get any chariots in the base armies in the thing. So it's like, wow, you got a spell here that you can't use. That's one of the ones that some people house ruled, and the designer, I'm not sure which. There's Grant and Tom Dalglish. They said somewhere they're like, yeah, you could use it on any 3-speed unit for the Amazons instead of only a chariot. But again, I don't think that ever got published officially. Runeka. So this is a wizard. So this is what you normally get. So this is a duplicate, or potentially you could have an army with 2 wizards in it, an A+ wizard. There's a B+ wizards that are cheaper. A berserker. C3, nice. 3 cost each. You can only go up to 3 steps for this guy. 3. But this Runeka, that's a normal. So low guard, that's a unit that's normal, and that's the arrow fodder unit. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm gonna have to dig into this more. There are low guards that are mountain folk, and there are low guards that are city folk. And I think the low guards that come in the basic game are, in the standards that are city folk. Slingers. Were slingers in the base 4? I don't think so. Ooh, 4 cost you. This is like the equivalent of a ranger for the elves. A2, but cost 4. An Undine. Looks like a water sprite. It looks like they're in the water. Yes, it's an amphibious unit for the elves. And a Pegasus. Oh my lord! 6 cost. 3 movement flyer. A3. But 6 per step. Wow, that is a power unit. Really, really expensive. But whoa, flexible. War Dog and Bowman. I'm pretty certain Bowman, or maybe not. I should have had the thing handy to compare which. I mean, definitely low guard is there, but it's a mountain folk low guard. So the Runica, that's definitely. I'm 93% certain that is the barbarian. That's the name of the normal barbarian wizard. Is a Runica. I believe you get that in the base game. Assassin and Queen. All right. So the orange, this is orcs. So the Queen of the Orcs. Mountain A2. 1 or 2 steps. 3 points each. An A2 for 3 points versus like this kind of A2 for 4 points. So it fights better, but it's cheaper. Better in that it's the same fighting ability but cheaper, but only can have max 2 steps. Which means, though, yeah, since you can build it cheaper, you can get it out there and it'll be able to fight well if you guard it with your arrow fodder dudes. Okay, Necrom. Okay, here's a Necrom B+. So the undead guys normally have a Necrom, as their wizard type, but this is a B+ version. So it can only at max have 3 steps, but it only costs 1 point per build. So these would be handy to have as a little more sacrificial, throw them around, blast that magic a lot, but you can't cast the bigger spells. I mean, if you cast the 3-point spell, you kill yourself if you're at your 3. And a death bow. A2. Another amphibious dude. All right, so that was... So already you can see like, wow, there's 2 units per guys. Most of these are new. The low guard's not new, but sort of is. And this is a mountain version versus that. The Runica is the same. This is a wizard, but it's a cheaper B+ version. And there might be like one. This might have already been in the Bowman A1. I don't think so. I think this is something new. So obviously, if you want, oh my God, I gotta get more of these. I gotta collect them. I'm like, no, stop. Entering Mike, you will not do that. No. I will gladly and shamelessly take more donations from people, but I'm not going to go out. I can't. Like, I've promised myself I won't do it. So this is the non-specific strip. Okay, you'll notice that the background color is black, which does not mean you put it on a black block. You got to remember that these guys here, this light ecru color, this is like khaki. Some people will call that yellow, but that's this, and this goes on the gray block, right? No, this goes on the gray block. This goes on the brown block. Orange block, orange on the orange. This beigeish ecru goes on the black. That's the undead. Barbarians are blue. Red blocks. So these are the dwarves. The dwarves are on the gray, and these are on the brown. All right. But these are non-specific, so you can put them on whatever color blocks you want. So yeah, this brown here does not mean it goes on a brown block, nor does this black mean it has to go on a black block. And this yellow does not, well, they're on a yellow. Actually, they sell yellow blocks, but I think you use them for a different purpose. There's not an army that's yellow color. Here's one of those treasures where you can get steps of treasure, you invest gold, and then you can move this guy around. All right? And that's a way to transfer money from the backfield cities. If you don't want to build units there, or your current force mix is too limited, or whatnot, you can. The only problem with it is if you start moving that treasure around, it can get killed. Now, technically, if I remember correctly, money left in a city can be captured. Money that gets converted into a silver, gold, or gem block, when the block is killed, the money's lost. You don't capture it. I suppose you could make a special rule or like a scenario type rule where in this case, maybe that's part of the scenario, you want to capture the money. Maybe like a Robin Hood type scenario where the one guy has to be transporting gold back and forth and the other guy wants to jump out and grab it or something. So this is an artifact. I'm not sure what that's supposed to... Is that a Roman numeral 2? Was that II? What does that mean? It's not movable. It doesn't, well, or at least it doesn't move by itself. 6 cost per step. Holy moly. So I do not know how this is supposed to work, a crown. And again, there's nothing in here explaining the special things. I think there's a spreadsheet online. You go onto the site for Columbia Games, and I think you can find a spreadsheet that probably will tell you what the heck this means. I mean, there's a little bit in the main game here that talks about artifacts or something. So there's like little bit of skeletal rules about, some of the things that are available in the expansions that aren't actually in the box, which I sort of wish they had included just a small sampling, like, one of these and some small artifact, one chaos unit, one were creature or something. Remember, like the poor elves have that spell that could only summon a chaos creature, and they didn't have any in the base game. So, anywho. So these guys, you can decide yourselves. Now the thing is, you have 3 of each color in here. So if you just have this one, normally you would say, well, I got to assign one of these to each color. Or you could not. You could say like, well, I'm going to sticker these, but I'm not going to sticker these yet. And I'm going to wait and see if I have a particular need for a particular scenario or something where I want. And so these potentially you could make more neutral versions. Here, let me grab something. So these are 1-inch counters. I got these from Noble Knight Games. They were printed by GMT who knows how long ago. I don't know if they're still available from GMT. I don't think so. But you could sticker up these and make a generic treasure type thing that you wouldn't have hidden and people would know, there's treasure. You just have it like this, exposed, like people would know that there's a treasure train going around somewhere. So I'm thinking of various ways I could utilize these. Maybe do the same thing for like these chaos units. Like maybe they're so notorious that people know they're out and about. And maybe you could use these, you could stick them, and you could have them face down. Well, see, you still have to know the orientation for how many steps they are. That's a problem. Well, in a scenario, you could say, for example, that, this is a 4-point silver treasure train or something. You could put them on one of those white counters, and the person that captures it and gets it to one of their cities can cash it in for 4 gold. And maybe you say, well, this thing, you don't build it, but it's part of a scenario. You could do something like that. But I'm brainstorming here. Okay. So obviously, same thing. There's all sorts. There's silver, there's gold, there's gems, and wow, if you have like different armies, and wow, I want to have one of these available for each army. And again, that's why I'm thinking like, well, how about put them on something white or get some yellow counters. And again, they're not normally supposed to. You're not supposed to have a werebat. That's a werebat, not a werebat. A werebat army. You could use. They have yellow blocks available that you can buy separately from Columbia Games. I think they're the same size. Boy, if they're not, that would be a problem. You couldn't use them that way. But so it's like, well, I want to have a chaos creature for each army or two. And it's like. Again, it's like, well, you better buy more of these. You better buy more of these, or go buy that big treasure thing that has, 300, 400 blocks in it with all the stickers, but it costs $300. I'm not going to do that, let alone keep buying a bunch of these. So let's stop here with this one. As much as I want to think about, I'm salivating, wanting, to unbox more of these, and it's the old Magic the Gathering ripping booster pack. Open looking for the rare, your foil card or blah blah. Oh my goodness, don't go there, don't go there. All right, now let me put this away, and now I'm not going to go and open all 5 of these. I've taken the shrink wrap off with 3. I'll probably save 2 for later. We'll go ahead and look through these real quick, not spending as much time on each one. But later I might get them all to rate out and do a comparison of the total amount of what I got for the different armies for this, and try to get a feel for the strengths and weaknesses of each army. Now, this is the first I've seen at all. So again, it's going to be 21 blocks, 3 for each of the 7 armies. Yeah, is there? Yep. 3 oranges, 3 greens, etc. All right. They're all together. So there are no equivalent of artifacts and such. Okay, so these, instead of having spells per se, there are rituals or spells that the priests or clerics of the different pantheons, the different gods of these different ancient kingdoms. So we have Huns, Egyptians, Chinese, Persians, Japanese, Romans, and Greeks. All right, and they're the same color blocks, but just because the Romans are on red doesn't mean that they necessarily have any affinity for the Amazons per se. The Amazons were actually a Greek mythological thing. Greeks are blue. Are they the equivalent of the barbarians? That would normally be the Huns, you'd think. The Huns are on the color of what? Wait, yes, would be the dwarves. These colors are slightly, so this green backing was the elves. Obviously the Persians, were they particularly elf-like? Were they particularly in the forests? No. Once upon a time, what's that little thing on there? There was a lot of forests in Syria. At one time, they all got forested out, but in general, you think of much more arid and mountain climb of the Persians. So this is like the khaki, the feudal equivalent, which I wouldn't call Egyptians feudal. So there's no relation. There's no relationship between the color that they've chosen and the fantasy kingdoms versus the ancient kingdoms, the historical kingdoms. So now, yeah, you could mix and match. You could take fantasy guys and these, or you could, like I think you could put these all on this and say, well, I'm going to use all white backgrounds for everybody. And you could do it that way. But all depends on what you want to do with this, right? There is well, I don't know. I've not looked to see if there's a bunch of Ancient Kings scenarios out there. Was there Ancient King scenarios mixed in with the Wizard Kings ones or not? So rituals, yeah, they do call them rituals, divine rituals, terror rolls. All right, and this is just another catalog. All right, so let's look at these real quick, and we'll then go through faster with the other ones. All right, should be readable. So for the Romans, a legion, a centaur. So they do have some fantastical. Well, they do have a Sagittari. So even though the astrologically Sagittarius is a centaur, they actually have Sagittari as a archer name for Roman archers, and they have a centaur. So here for the Greeks, we have a trireme, so an actual aquatic unit, peltast, which was a kind of a skirmisher. These only go up to 3 steps. So this is a arrow fodder unit that only goes up to 3 steps. Well, that kind of bites. It actually quite bites, because so this spear unit for the Japanese, which is also a forest folk, is way superior to this guy here. Because by being able to be up 4, this is key to screening other units. You got to take your hits first on your biggest dudes, and so by having 4-step arrow fodder dudes screens your more expensive things, and if they only have 3, anything like this hoplite, again in ancient Greek would be oplita. This guy could not successfully screen the first hit off of this guy. He would end up taking the first hit if they're both at max strength. He's at 3, he's at 4. So that's weird. I gotta find the full manifest. I think there's somewhere, they get a spreadsheet of these. And it's like, why is this guy, should have this been a 4? Is this a typo, a quote unquote typo, a mistake that this should have had 4 steps available? And if not, are the Greeks really hamstrung in the fact that they don't have that? Okay, fortress. Now that's going to be interesting, because since there's not a base set of these ancient kings, not all your armies are going to have the equivalent of a fortress. You're going to be. I'm glad that they sent me as many as they did, because actually having this many, you should get a decent set that you can maybe make some scenarios that are going to make sense. See, here's a spear unit. Again, this is an arrow fodder. Their spear 4, but it's a city guy. I think these are really powerful. City folks, especially these, because they actually will fight in a city as a C2 instead of a C1, and they're so cheap that particularly those armies that have city folk are at a huge advantage. Here's a C2 city folk. Only 2 cuts. So a C2 can still get up to 4-2, but it's a city folk. That's pretty powerful. Pretty powerful. It does cost twice as much as the other guy. Well, C3, that would see. Yeah, see, still. I would rather have 2 of these guys in a city than one of these, cost-wise. Now, when you're near your stacking limit, you'd rather have these, right? So if you're just building from scratch, I don't have anything, I would rather have 2 of these in a city, 2 full strength of these, because in this city, they'd be C2s. I'd rather have 2 C2s at 4 strength then 1 C2, because he'd be fighting at C3 in the city. So 4 pips of 3 or less to hit versus 2 of these having 8 pips of 2 or less. Highly superior. More staying power, more steps. But again, once you're like, oh, I'm going to fill up my city, and you want the absolute best, the biggest, baddest stack you can, you could eventually get more of these. If you can get them, right? This is the thing is, how many of these are you going to buy? Turk, Hunbo, because these are the Huns. Okay. Hunbo, A2, 5. Oh, ouch. But it's about 3 movement, forest folk, A2s. This is a B2, but max 3, so 4. So this is cheaper, but you're not shooting, depending what you're fighting. If you're fighting mostly C's, it doesn't matter if you're an A or a B, right? You're going to shoot before their C's. But if they do have B's and A's, then obviously you want the A's instead of the B's to shoot earlier. But this can only get up to 3 steps, but it's cheaper. So it's all trade-offs. Trade-offs, trade-offs, trade-offs. All right. Tatar, sword, archer. What was... Wait a minute. Wait. Holy... Wait. These color... Okay. Is this color? Those are definitely Egyptians. The Ankh, the Nubians. Okay, so that's there. The Persian fortress and immortal. So these are like the Persian bodyguards of the king, the emperor. Assyrians, which are... By the time we actually talk about the Persians, the Assyrians were gone. Different peoples of what we call ancient Persia would be contemporary of the Assyrians, but they wouldn't be called Persians then. But anyway, so this was the Japanese. These are the Huns. See that color? So this is supposed to be the orange of the Chinese. All right, so yeah, so northwest China is sort of where the Tatars. It really should be Tatar, not tartar. Tartar sauce, Tatar. Wow, again, the 5 cost. So yeah, so look at this. 3-point amphibious, which is kind of weird. Maybe they're good at crossing rivers, but 5, but max 3 steps. They're both A2s. They both cost 5. This is a forest dude, can get up to 4 steps. So the mix of things across. So the overall balance of these ancient armies is going to be really different, and especially since you don't have a starting 8 that you get. Yeah, they should have sold that. They should have had ancient kings in a box like Wizard Kings with the starting armies. Absolutely. And it should come with 4 historical maps, please. I absolutely want historical. I can use these other maps, but I'm really going to want to make my own, because I'd want to do historical scenarios, and I'd like to have a more historical map. And I really hope they will actually produce some historical maps. But otherwise, I'm going to have to make my own. All right, so we've delved into this one. Let's quickly look at what we got available in the other one. So let me open up the other 2. All right, so they're already out of the shrink. I just opened them up, pulled out the things. Of course, they have their blocks. They have their catalog. They got the spell cards. They're going to get one of those set of ritual cards in every single one of these. Yeah, you don't need that many, but that's just the way it is. Because there doesn't exist a basic game of it, which there should. All right, so let me zoom in a little bit here. Let's go to one time. So, Navis or Navi, Navy, obviously, is a name for like a bireme, trireme. Can't really tell how many really banks of wars are in there. But that's a 3 movement aquatic B2, 4 cost, max 3. Auxilia. Okay, this is their standard Roman arrow fodder. Mountain troops, interesting. Fortis, the castle, the fortis. All right, so, didn't we get a trireme last time? So a lot of barbarian navies here, which is, if you're talking Vikings, then it's like, cool. But Pythia, a B2, two star. 2 star. That's the equivalent of the cleric, right? Okay, yeah, here's the shaman. All right, so these are the guys that can cast the rituals. Pythia, a ritual caster. But they can fight. Unlike wizards, A+ or B+ wizards in wizard gangs who can only cast spells, these guys can do the rituals or they can fight. So that's actually quite decent. A B2 unit. It can link up to 3 steps, but it's only 2 cost, B2, and has that option to do some rituals. So that's pretty cool. Cyclops, B4, but only max 2 steps. 6 cost, but B4, bam, 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 4 dice thing at B speed. So definitely can, like, I'm gonna go first and chew up your sea dudes. So if somebody is got like a ton of C's on defense, you know, and normally when you're going into attack, if it's the same, you know, letter of combat, strike, rank, speed, I don't want to call it initiative, because initiative is something different in the game. That's who goes first in the movement portion. Remember, everyone moves, and then you go in combat in the order of movement, initiative. But in any given case, the attacker, which subsequent players can attack somewhere else after that guy's moved, the defender of equal letter combat speed goes first. But so Cyclops going in against a big stack of those, and bam, big hits. And as long as you've screened yourself with some, you know, arrow fodder or something, protect your 2-pip. This is the kind of target that a wizard and Wizard Kings would want to go, focused fire, where you want to direct hits, cast a spell, blast. Unfortunately, it's not, what was I saying before? It's hitting on a 4 or less, but you only have 2 pips. So, but still, you can't kill a guy off with a spell. Now, I don't know if this magic here, if you can kill a guy off with spells. Personally, yeah. Well, we'll play it some more, but I think I would house rule something like magic, you know, can damage you down, and if you have excess hits after you're reduced to 1, you get something like a saving throw or something. Like you'd roll to see if you make your 2-hit roll, it's like a save. So if you're, you know, just a 1 strength unit, you'd only save on a 1. You're a 2, 3, so this 4 strength dude, he could save himself on a 4 or less against that last pip from magic only, not melee. You'd keep the normal combat normal. All right, let's keep going. Samurai. I think we had a samurai last time, didn't we? Yeah. Shiro, that's their castle. Okay. Spear unit. Yeah, nice, cheap. An archer, Assyrian. We had one of those Assyrians before. That was their arrow fodder. And a galley, they get their aquatic dude. Same ratings. B2s, 4 cost, 3 movement. Oh, this one can only go up to 3. Dang, really? So they do that. B2. So some of these guys here, like, yeah, I'm sorry, you cannot build as a beefy of ship. So they're differentiating between them, and hopefully the overall mix of the armies, you know, balance out and account with it. You'd normally say, hey, I want these to balance. Now, you can always, in your scenario, you could say like, well, in this scenario, the galleys can be up to 4 pips. Or you could say something like, in this scenario, they can't build past 2 pips of trireme or something like that, depending on what you're trying to do, what period you're simulating, how you want to do it. You can always add all sorts of rules like that on a scenario by scenario basis. Just make sure you're clear. A chariot here, Felucca, or Feluccia, which is the Egyptian ship, only up to 3 steps. Their cannon fodder, but city dweller. Remember, that's killer. That's awesome because you can stack more in the city and it's just ridiculously powerful, if you ask me. That sword unit again, we're going to Triada. A3 city folk. Which was these again? This is the Chinese. I'm not sure what a Triada would be. Dragon, a Chinese dragon, a flyer. And of course, you could always, none of this fantasy stuff in my historical scenarios. If I'm going to do an ancient king, it's going to be ancient kings. So you can do what you want when you create your own scenarios. Shaman, okay, there's another one of those spelly dudes for the Huns. A Scudar, A2, city folk. You don't think of Huns as city folk, but these could be their dudes that specialize in, when we've looted and pillaged off some of the cities we keep, not very often for the Huns. Well, later they were thinking about settling down and conquering, and Attila actually wanted to go and marry me off to the Roman Empress, and that's my due. And it wasn't to be, and he turned around from the great prophecy, a camp. Okay, so this is their equivalent of a council, just a camp. Max 3 pips, though. All right, yeah, cool. I can totally buy into that. Like all these others, their castles, their shiros, their fortress. No, interesting. So the Roman, it's like a fortified camp, max 3. Whereas the Japanese fortified castle can get up to 4. I'm getting more into that, the little historical flavor, the differences there of those things, as long as it kind of all balances. But you don't know what it's all like unless you could see the whole mix. So I was hoping they would send me like just the sticker sets for the collections of all the like wizard kings and ancient kings, and so that I could actually see what's in the complete set and do that army comparison. So I think I can do that from their spreadsheet, albeit I don't. If I remember, the format wasn't the best, and I don't think it tells you like the mix in terms of how many you'd actually get or what. So I'll have to look at that at some point and see. But all right, so this is the last one. Equus, cavalry for the Romans. These forest cavalry is like light horse. Sure, they can go through light woods easily, but not heavy woods at all. And so really when this is forest folk stuff, I say, no, that's not right. It's not right. I'd rather they have a thing called like plains folk, where the horses fighting in clear terrain actually give them a bonus. But, clarify that clear folk does not count cities. So cities in a clear, city folk get that bonus, but not this. And then you could have these you wouldn't have any benefit movement-wise. Well, you could say something like, hey, a plains folk that moves all planes, it's like a road. They get one more movement or something. And you can say they get their combat strength add in planes, but not in any other terrain, not in the city that's in the clear. But I would like to see something like that. A flamen, so that's the cleric, the ritual dude. Ballista only moves 1. Oh my goodness. But it's a city folk thing. A2, wow. Up to 3 steps of A2, 3 cost. You move slow, but you'd be A3 when you're fighting, either defending in or attacking a city. Wow. A tyrant. So obviously this isn't a tyrant. Because it's got 4 steps. So this could be the tyrant's army. So whatever, your barbarian tyrant, your chieftain, polis. Now why would they call okay, this is not barbarians again. Stop. This is the Greeks. Rewind my brain. Romans, yes. And suddenly I say like, oh, this is the barbarians. No, this is the Greeks. Okay, another peltast, a skirmisher, polis, yes, absolutely nice fortified walled city. And the tyrant, this would be the tyrant. That's the city state leader. This would be his like personal army. Nice A2 4. See, that's nice and powerful. Okay, the Japanese ninja. Ooh, only 2 steps, but he's a A3. Cost 5 though, expensive. Tanar, but only 2. So they have an aquatic ship, but it's only 2. It only moves 2 instead of 3. Alrighty. Another ship. I got a lot of samurais. I think I got, 1 in each of those. Satrap. All right. So this is like the equivalent of the tyrant. This is the Persian, the satrap. The satrapy, they're like the governors of these different provinces of Persia. Elephant, on a Parthian. Now, say the Parthians lived in Persia, but they were really different than the Persians. A Persian offshoot. So that's kind of, if you think these Persians were expanding over a certain larger period, you could end up including, the Parthians, the Sassanids and whatnot, and you could call it, that's the bigger, greater, larger Persians. All right, Egyptian, more Nubians, a temple. So this is their equivalent of a castle, but max 3 steps. A Sheridan, this is a priest. No, it's not. I thought a Sheridan was a priest. They have it as a forest dude, a C3. 3 step, 3 cost. Forest dude. Why did I think that Sheridans were, I know they were the Egyptian elite, but why did I think they were more religiously oriented? My brain just might be hiccuping there. Okay. The Chinese archers, Tatars, swords. Yeah, a lot of swords of those. Turk had those before, shaman, and a hunbo. So we're getting some repeats in there, which is good. Sometimes you want a certain key car unit. The thing is, there really needs to be more of those arrow fodders. The thing is, it's like, if you don't have enough arrow fodders, it's coming apart. You want more, and then you get to a certain point, like, I've got enough. I don't want any more. So that's a tough one to do. Dang it. I'll talk about this at some other time, I think. I'm gonna do a follow-on. I'm gonna unbox those other 2 later, get sort of the what did I get in total, look at the thing. I'll do some kind of analysis of this as a whole. And I want to give the Ancient Kings a play through to see how it feels compared to the Wizard Kings, and getting a feel for that differing guys that are equivalent. The castles. Not all castles are the same. Castle equivalent, right? Your fortification, your city state, your polis, your your whatnot, your Fortis, and how they are slightly different, that they have a different max steps, etc. How that feels, but also what that might suggest for creating scenarios. But yes, different ways I think this would have been marketed. I think I would like to have seen some kind of on-demand printing. I like the old way where Wizard Kings 1 had, you can buy all of one army. You know, you started with 2 full armies. Now, Wizard King 2 is like, you start with 7 armies, but you start with only 8 of each. But you can start with 7 different armies. But then you have to do this collectible route. Not these, but the other ones. And as I mentioned, I don't like that anymore. Magic the Gathering killed that for me. I can't do that anymore. Unless I begged for freebies from a publisher or generous subscribers. But if you could go online, I'll talk about this now real quick. Go online and you could pick and choose units and basically print on demand of the stickers. It's like, hey, you can buy blocks separately or whatnot, or, you know, they sell blocks in bulk. And here, you know, pick a strip or two, you know. I mean, they could market it. You want all of one color, or you want this rainbow, one of each. And you could pick and choose. And they should be able to, you know, run these things and print them for you on demand. And yeah, sure, the cost would be a little higher per unit. But if what you want is this target, I want this army or these 2 armies, and I'm setting up a scenario or something, that would be much nicer. And I think, again, maybe they feel it's too much hassle for them, but marketing-wise, in the long run, I think they do much better. The game could flourish more if you had that kind of support where people could print on demand a collection of stickers. Okay, so we will talk about that more later. So this has been a Meandering Mike unboxing of Wizard Kings related goodies. I'm gonna zoom back out. We've got Ancient Kings. We've got we've opened 3 of the 5 that I received generously from the. Oh no, it's falling out of that box. That's a problem. So, I don't know if you guys noticed, but these pizza boxes do not have a forward tuck part. These sides tuck in, but nothing tucks in here. See? And so, when I put these in here on the top, they slid out. So you got to watch that, I think. You know, normally it's going to get in here, but still, they could come out somehow, and you know, potentially could lose things, especially if you've separated those stickers but haven't stickered anything yet, and you were keeping a few to sticker later. Which, see, for these, you got 7 guys of. You got 3 guys of each of the 7 different kingdoms, and that's fine. You know, no real conundrum on, you know, what you're going to put where. You're going to potentially use them all. You've got those blocks now. Because these blocks are the same size here, and for these, whoops, down boy. If you had things like, I don't really want to use like the mystical things. I don't want to use that centaur, or I don't want to use the whatever griffins or blah blah blah. You know, there's some mystical dudes. You could save those blocks, and then you could use those blocks over here to have more choice when you took those chaos and werebeasts and the treasures and the artifacts and things like that. So you could use that, or you could just buy more spare blocks. I think they sell them like in sets of 25 blocks, but you know, I don't remember what the price is, but you know, you might not want to commit that much. But if you really want to specialize in one army, you could buy those extra blocks, and then it's a question of that. But I'm rambling on, meandering Mike, as I do. I meander. So again, the reminder, Wizard Kings giveaway. This is Friday. This will be up on Friday. I'm filming on Friday. I'll get this up today. This is up for grabs. And this is up for grabs. This, you have to pay full shipping if you want to win it. This will be free shipping in the U.S. This, you can be outside the U.S. or in the U.S. as long as you're willing to pay free shipping. You can sign up for this category. You can sign up for one or the other. And there's a special code out there somewhere in Meandering Mike channel. It shouldn't be too hard to find it if you really think about it. Probably has to do with the content we're talking about somewhere. And there's a code that when you're signing up for this, don't put the code in a comment. No. But email me on my channel email saying what the code is, and you get a double raffle ticket, basically, that you have twice the chance of winning. You get a double entry. All right, so Meandering Mike, Man Cave of Madness, Wizard Kings, Wizard Kings, Heroes and Treasure, Wizard Kings, Ancient Kings, Wizard Kings, maps galore. There's 3 sets of maps, 12 total extra maps, and I have 16 different maps. But I want some historical ones. So please, Columbia Games, if you actually get to this point, James, and are listening to this, what about some historical maps for Ancient Kings? Otherwise, I'll have to figure out how to make my own. All right. Take care, y'all. And remember, take care of your games, because they will take care of you. Ciao.